I don't have a clicker thing, that's the annoying bit. I'll just move to the next, this is just an opening. Yeah, there we go, who am I? Okay, so hello guys, my name's Alex, and I am the founder and CEO of Can Co, which is a social media marketing agency which I started last August, so it's 9 months old. But I'll go into a little more detail into how I kind of got here. I'm 19 years old, I turned 20 in 11 days, so I'll finally not be a teenager anymore, which is very exciting for me. But I'm kind of going to explain a bit about how I got to where I am now and the subsequent fuck-ups that led to that. So, in light of that, next slide please, my short time at university. So, I was always an academic. I was always that kid at the back of the classroom, buried in a textbook. That was always what I wanted to do. I was stuck in the academic bubble. I'm lucky enough that I didn't grow up homeless. I had parents that could feed me. I had nice cars in the driveway. I don't have that sort of story. But I grew up in a way that I knew I wanted to do something amazing. I knew I wanted to carry that on and still have a life like that when I was older. But I didn't know quite how to do that. I just knew that I had to work hard at school because that's what everyone tells you to do. That's what all the teachers tell you to do, is to work hard at school and you'll succeed in life. So I went off to university, the University of York, in autumn 2016, so just about a year and a half ago now, to study English literature, which again was what I always wanted to do. I didn't have any career plans or anything. I just thought, well, it's what everyone else is doing and it's what I need to do to earn lots of money later on. So that's what I did. Went through Freshers Week and it was great, had loads of fun, I met loads of friends, I got really drunk, had too many Jaeger bombs, was subsequently sick from that, and then learned my lesson. But then the end of that week came and something started to feel a bit not quite right. There was something not right. I was spending this money on all this fancy accommodation. I was living with 10 other girls as well, which is not ideal. As a female in here, you'll understand that living with other females is not fun. And it didn't end well in that sense as well. I ended up not getting on very well with my flatmates. And I began to realize, hang on a second, I'm getting 6 hours of contact time a week for $9,000 a year, plus things like maintenance fees and accommodation fees. And I was working 2 jobs while I was there as well, and I was more focused on those jobs than I was on my actual degree. And it was then one point when my parents said to me, hang on a second, you come home and you tell us all about these amazing jobs you've got, but you're not saying anything about your degree, which is the reason you're there. And that's when it kind of clicked, and I thought, I've got to rethink this whole situation. So I went home for Christmas, like everyone else, and over Christmas, I decided not to go back again, which was a huge, huge decision for me, when my whole life I was only sat in university. I'd never thought of any other option. So I had no plan. There was no sort of idea of what I wanted to do. Now, next slide, please. The time I got a real adult job. So what happened after that was I did work in local bars and restaurants and things, just sort of get myself on my feet, earn a little bit more money. I'm lucky enough that my mum also runs a business. She runs 49 Digital, which is a web development and UX agency. And I'd never considered running a business before. I wouldn't have known what I wanted to do, run a business in anyway at the time. But she had a big network, and so I went along to my very first networking event at the age of 18, which was in January 2017. It was a Durham Business Group event, and there I met my then future employer, who was running a social media training agency. So she trained businesses on how to use social media. And I thought, that sounds really interesting. What's this all about? Because I knew that I didn't want to be a lawyer or a doctor or something like that. I knew I wanted to do something different and creative, but I didn't know what that was. So I ended up getting back in touch with this lady, and I got a part-time job with her to begin with, and then before I knew it, I was in a full-time job. And that was great, and I learned all these amazing skills. I met all these amazing people. I built my network through this employment. And then come August, next slide please, I then lost that real adult job and the salary that came with it, which really, really sucked because I couldn't buy my daily Starbucks. So if you're like me, you would understand how painful that is. And now can I just lay the fact down here, I was not actually fired. I promise you that I wasn't fired. I was made redundant. It was very unexpected. It was very sudden. It was actually very sad. It was a very sad time for both of us, both me and my employer. But that was an interesting time. It was last August. I remember the exact date. It was August 8th, 2017. And it was probably one of the worst days I've ever experienced in my very short life, very short time on this planet. And I'm sure there's a hell of a lot more to experience as well. But it was a really, really horrible conversation to have, and it did ruin me quite a lot, because I felt that I hadn't done maybe as much as I could have done to stay in that job. And I kind of had to take responsibility for my actions and just sort of think, right, okay, how can I go forward moving on from this? And I don't know what's actually next, so this should be interesting. Paul, can I have the next slide? Okay, yeah, no, I'll get to that in a second. I moved a little bit fast. So basically what happened after that was that night, the night of the day I was made redundant, I thought, okay, university was a screw up, I'm not going back there. Employment was a screw up, I'm not going back there. What's left? Try and run a business, potentially. And so I launched my business on the night of 8th of August, 2017. Not officially, I didn't go incorporated until November, but I developed a business idea, knew what I was going to do, had a website set up within a week, had a name within 3 days, thanks to my lovely mother who set up my website very quickly. And before I knew it, yeah, Canby & Co. was born. And it is essentially a social media marketing agency on a mission to reinvent the way that brands portray themselves online. So what I learned from that was that I feel that I've lived a lifetime in a matter of 6 months. A lot of people say to me, I can't believe you were made redundant. Like, most people hear that from, like, 50-something-year-old men. Like, it's not something you hear from, like, it's not something you hear from, like, a 19-year-old girl. And it's so true. Like, I dropped out of university. I was, like, had no money. I was working in bars. Luckily, I was so lucky to have my parents supporting me, and I completely count myself lucky for that. But then I was, went through this horrible experience with employment, etc. And it was just so sudden. It was like one thing after another constantly. And it really does shake you mentally. Like, you don't, because I didn't know what I wanted to do or anything. And that's when it was just like the tipping point, the day I was made redundant. I thought, something's got to give here. I've tried 2 major things and they haven't worked out. What is left? So I would say that what I've learned is that just let things happen. Like, things happen for a reason. I know that sounds so cliche and so common, but it is really true. I can't say I've ever been homeless. I can't say I've ever been made bankrupt. I'm sure I'm going to make a hell of a lot more fuck-ups in the coming future, and I'm okay with that. I say that now, but I'm okay with that because I know that in the end it's going to lead me to success. And yeah, that's me. Thank you.